Who's got the best chance to get the G5 playoff bid for the 2024 college football playoffs? Let's take a look at some of the top contenders in the G5 for this upcoming season. The first one of notice is Liberty. Obviously, we have the over-unders in the columns to the left. Their over-under is 10.5. I mean, there's a reason for that. They had a huge season last year. They are quite frankly, they're just a big shark in a small pond in the CUSA. Undefeated, Jamie Chadwell's got a squad that has pretty much the best opportunity to get this G5 bid, and they're going to be a beneficiary of a weak conference. They are probably the most likely team to make it. Memphis, go down the list here. Memphis, they're 22nd in Bill Connolly's returning production, and they had a great year last year. 10 wins, bowl game victory over Iowa State. That would be crazy if they had an Ohio State victory. But they got quarterback Seth Hennigan returning. He's going to be their fourth year starting quarterback there. He's going to be a big focal part in that offense. Expect them to have a really good season this year. Moving down the list, we got Boise State. They were able to retain Ashton Genty, who was a top person that wasn't in the transfer portal, but a lot of teams had their eyes on him because he's an exceptional running back. He'll be one of the best running backs in the country this year. However, they did lose Taylon Green to Arkansas. But Spencer Danielson, after the firing of Andy Avalos, seemed to have righted the ship a little bit. They brought in Malachi Nelson, former five-star, but they do draw a pretty tough schedule in Oregon State, Oregon, and Wazoo. Obviously, Oregon State and Wazoo, formerly P5 members. So they do have a pretty tough schedule. Moving down, now we got UTSA. They lost Frank Harris. That's a huge loss for them, but they'll be the favorite to win the conference, and they'll be a beneficiary of a relatively light schedule. Moving on to Texas State, man, G.J. Kinney has done a fabulous job with this team. They got Jordan McLeod coming in, formerly the Sun Belt Player of the Year for JMU, now at Texas State. He'll have to rely on Cole Wilson to improve at wide receiver from last year. He was their leading receiver last year, I think about 700 yards and change. If he can get up to 1,000, yards receiving, they'll be a pretty big threat to make the college football playoff. Now we got Tulane. They bring in John Summerall from Troy, a great hire. A lot of people, including myself, expected John Summerall to jump to the P4 level, but he moves from Troy to Tulane. They'll have a really solid defense. That will probably be their identity, but they draw Kansas State and Oklahoma. That's likely going to keep them out. USF. Man, Alex Golesh, what a huge turnaround he did for that program last year. Now he's entering year 2 of this program. They return 9 starters on each side of the ball. So they have a lot of experience coming back for this year. No more important than Byron Brown, their quarterback. He was exceptional last year. He'll be great this year, probably one of the best quarterbacks possibly in the country, this year, not even in the G5. But they have a really tough schedule. So the likes of this for them is kind of tough. They have Bama, Miami, and Tulane, Memphis. So kind of tough for them. All right, now we're going to App State. App State, part of the Sun Belt, probably the toughest conference that they'll in the G5. They're always in the mix. They always got a good squad, and they're always salty and gritty. So you can't really count them out. Although I don't really see a really big path for them. Fresno State will likely have to rely on Mikey Keene to really get the job done to push them over the edge. Overall, I think Liberty has the best shot to do it. They're the odds-on favorite. I do think that they have the best shot because of their conference schedule and because they are just better than everyone in that conference. I think Memphis probably has the next best bet to do it, mainly because they draw one P5 or P4 opponent in Florida State. If they run the table and their only loss is to Florida State and it's close, that's an interesting game, by the way, formerly Mike Norvell's team. So that's going to be a fun game to watch. But a lot of the other teams who are really solid, like USF and Tulane and Boise, they just have a lot of P4 opponents on their schedule, which will likely keep them out. Follow Big Body Ball on all socials, at Big Body Ball CFB on YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. Check out the site as well.